Okay. So on this, today we'll be having, hands-on demo session. That is day three. Day three, just nothing but hands-on labs, hands-on lab experimentation. And what we'll be having here is much. So here we'll have, I'll be using Amazon, Ubuntu or Linux. Anything is fine. I'll be going on with Ubuntu machine in order to, have the
Yes.
instance of virtual machine being spinned up. And upon that, we'll be installing a Docker and we'll be creating containers and we'll execute some basic commands. Okay. So
Yes.
here I'm using Amazon Web Service Providers, that is AWS console, wherein I have created an account one for me. So I'm able to log in
Okay.
and I'll just create an instance now. I'll give the name as demo 3. And I can choose Amazon Linux or Ubuntu or Windows. But in order to have this Docker and Kubernetes, the preferred one is CLI based. That is either Ubuntu or Amazon Linux one. But the process would remain. The process would remain same, but the commands would differ. In Linux based, that is RHEL based, we'll be using the command that
Mm-hmm.
is yum install. Correct. In
Correct.
Linux, in RHEL or uh, Linux based, we'll be having yum install. The package manager would be yum. Wherein in Ubuntu or Debian based, Ubuntu or any Debian based systems will be using apt. Okay. So here I'll
Mm.
be choosing with Ubuntu and rest of the things, but we have to make sure that we are using only free tier eligible one. And
Mm.
here, if I don't have any new key pair, which is used for logging in, right now I already have a keeper, but let me download one, that is demo 3. I should name it. And what is this PEM or PPK is actually used? PEM is for Open SSH connectivity. That is,
Mm.
if I'm using my Windows base machine using PowerShell, I can just run a command. That is where the PEM is required. That is privacy enhanced module. See, for use with Open SSH. And this PPK is used with PuTTY. That means when we have to have a third-party software externally being downloaded, that is
Mm-hmm.
PuTTY session. So which is, the mode which we prefer is this, but either of the mode would be fine. So now I'll be having PPK key. We can
Mm.
also use with PEM, wherein from our Windows partial, we'll be going to launch and we'll be doing it. So right now, my demo3.ppk is execute. It's been downloaded. Let me just launch an instance. This is
Mm.
something that comes with AWS, okay? But
Okay.
that's something different. But here we are having this account just to get the VM ready. Because if you have seen my previous videos, that is day 1
Mm-hmm.
and day 2, you might have
Mm-hmm.
seen what is the advantage of spinning up VMs instead of going on with some, installing VMware Workstation Player or Oracle VirtualBox. Upon that, we have to download ISO image. Then we are launching a VM, correct? Which will
Correct.
almost take an hour because I do have Oracle VirtualBox. I do
Mm-hmm.
have CentOS image, which is almost 1 GB,
Mm-hmm.
but this is all something which takes almost an hour just to spin up the VM, only one VM. So that is the reason we are going with this Amazon cloud service provider. Even we do have other service cloud providers like Azure or GCP, where we are all aware of it. But the
Yes.
most widely used and which is more compatible, it is this. And that all, and and we are all know that in Azure we'll have only 1 month of time period or duration wherein we have to use our that resources which have been allocated for us. And
Correct.
Azure is something which is intended, cost intended, correct? But here
Correct.
in this AWS, we'll get free tier eligibility for 12 months, and we'll get some set of services so we can access them. That is the reason we are going with this AWS. Now I have copied the IP in order to get connected. Now connection SSH, because I'm going on with SSH connectivity. Then credentials. What is the credential that I have to pass? My file where I have downloaded. It's demo
Correct.
3. So I'll be choosing it. Now open. So it will ask for me. It's like, hey, the host key is not cached, or you want to connect adding, is accept. Now login as Ubuntu, because I have launched Ubuntu machine. That's why the username is Ubuntu. If it is Amazon Linux based, then the name is EC2-user. Let me change
Okay.
the font size and color of the screen as well as the appearance, so that it will be more easier to understand. Yeah, hope it is clear now. Okay.
Yes.
So right now, let me just go here. Yeah. Now our machine is ready. That is, we have spinned up the VM. What is the next that we have to do? How do we install a container? So yesterday, meanwhile, I'll just explain you the architecture as well, just in a one go. Right now, this is a Linux, right? Even if it is Ubuntu or whatever. Usually we do have some commands like ls, that is usually, displays command, wherein some basic Linux commands. So what are the hidden files? ls-ela, and then ps-a or something. So wherein, it will display the processes.
Correct.
Right now, this is my instance process. That is Ubuntu machines. Now let's create a Docker. How do we create a first? Before that, we have to have Docker been installed, right? Right now, I don't have, because see, my EC2 instance, sorry, my this Ubuntu machine is unable to recognize this. So I have to install. In Ubuntu, we do have some commands wherein sudo docker like we have to add the repository keys, GPG keys. We have to enable the C community mode, community version. So instead of that, we'll be going on with this curl, that is content URL. Get the curl. SL means get the complete content, where it has to get, from where it has to download the file, because curl is used to download, correct, to display the content. Get.docker.com. See, this is a script which is already ready in a Docker repository. If we just copy this URL, that is what exactly it will be displayed, right? When we use curl with a IP address, what we will get? We'll get the web page. But the option of this SL, because we need to execute this script.
Okay.
Huh.
So this script is available at this URL.
Script is available in this URL. Yes.
Okay.
See, in Linux, it is quite easier, wherein, we can just go ahead and, enable Docker. First of all, Amazon Linux to Docker. We have to enable the Docker, then sudo yum install Docker. That's it. But in Ubuntu, we do have a process wherein I have to add a GPG keys, I have to add everything. So the process is bit lengthier. That is the reason we have the script. If that is required, yes, I have notes as well, like how exactly we gonna install step by step, which takes almost like 5 to 6 set of commands, a lengthy commands. So if we just pass this, this script, what it contains is, it will install the Docker, enable the Docker, and start the Docker service, docker.service and docker.socket. Both.
Okay, madam.
Because, see, now let's check. How will I know if I have installed it or not? Docker version. But this is something, it is showing the version is 28, but can you see here, error something, permission denied? Why it is? Because I'm not a root user. Instead of, let me just give it as sudo Docker version. Sudo means super user. Do.
Yes.
See, right now I don't have that error, correct?
Correct.
So how do we achieve? And every time I just can't give this sudo docker run, sudo docker email, remove something. So that's why, in order to refrain from using the keyword, we have a command called sudo user modify. -a means append to the group, which group? Docker. And who is the user? Ubuntu. Sudo user modification. These are all something in Linux based commands. -a means append to the group Docker. Okay, and which user it has to add? Ubuntu. So now let's check again the Docker version. Again, we'll get an error. See, again we got the error. Why? Because it not yet reflected. How do we, instead of me just clicking on here, like, again, duplicate session or log out and close and reopen, because whenever we modify any of the configuration files, definitely we have to log out and log in, right? But in order to avoid that, we do have a keyword called new group Docker. If I just do this, immediately a group will be updated. Now let me try this Docker version. It should come without any error. See, now did we get any error? No. So this is something, we are updating instantly without any error. So now we have installed Docker, right? And how do we check if Docker is running? Sudo service Docker status. What it is showing? Active, and it is running. So if I run that script, I don't need to manually enable typing sudo service docker start, sudo service docker enable, so that even in a whenever I re-log in or log off and whenever I just reboot my EC2 instance, I just need this Docker to start automatically. That is where the command called sudo service docker enable would come into picture. Right now it is actively running and it is actively enabled. Okay. So that's why now everything is ready. Now let's start creating the container. How do we create a container? Docker run. Run means, hey, create a container. Run. -itd means interactive terminal detached mode. Means I just want to create a container, but I don't want to get inside the container. For example, I want to install my WhatsApp app. I don't want to go into login and just get into the WhatsApp where I can just start chatting. No. So now,
doing like mkdir, just create
yes,
a
only
folder,
creating. If we need to enter, then what's the command? CD. Yeah. Yes. The example what you have given is good. So -itd means interactive terminal in a detached mode, so that it will be
Okay,
running.
madam, I am satisfied, madam. This way it is works for me. Okay, madam ji. I want to ask two questions if you allow.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So when you teach Kubernetes, will it be possible for you to teach me Kubernetes in Azure?
See, as I have told you in earlier, the only thing is we have limitations over there. Even here in this AWS, for some services, because in Kubernetes we'll be having our master node.
Correct.
So for that, definitely it is not something that I can go with free tier eligibility, wherein it requires T3 or T4 kind of, correct? So the reason we are opting for this AWS, because see, even if you launch Azure, then the process would remain same, but the how do I tell you? The steps would be different and the commands would be different. The reason we are using this AWS because of the, if you learn this, if you learn it here, because nowadays it's not something that we have to go because when I say uh, like in AWS we have Amazon Kubernetes service. In Azure we have Azure Kubernetes service. Correct. And Elastic Kubernetes. Sorry, in AWS it's Elastic Kubernetes service. So yes, so that is why the process would remain same. But the thing why I'm not opting for Azure, because this is the reason, wherein we have limitations and we have to pay a lot. You just learn here in this AWS, you learn, because it will be like, once you get into the Docker, once we are familiar with the Docker, then Kubernetes is something, it's like managing the container in terms of pods. And we'll be having other concepts like scheduling, in which pod it has to run, and how do we achieve the concept of high availability. That is like, what if one pod fails? In Docker, we call it as containers, but in Kubernetes, we don't call it as containers. Rather, we call it as a pod. Pod is like a wrapper around the container. It's like a one more layer of protection.
Correct.
Where, yeah, in that pod, containers will be running. So that is the reason, just, we'll just go with this. Then, you can see. And one more thing I have to tell you, in this duration of 25 days of course for Docker and Kubernetes, we are not limiting in such a way that, okay, you have come with Azure, okay, we'll teach you with Azure. If someone else would come and say, I need it in a GCP, yes, GCP. This is something restricting, because it's all about your organization's dependency or your dependency. Correct.
Yes,
So that
madam.
is the reason here we are going with a basic one. If you don't understand the basic, that means like how to launch or how are we doing it, definitely we'll not be knowing in-depth level.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the reason, we have more advantage in this AWS because we have free tier eligibility, and it will be easier for us to update or edit because in upcoming concepts in Kubernetes we do have like domain name resolution, the
Mm-hmm.
concepts. Hope you might have gone through the syllabus
Yes.
content as well. Yes. So that is the reason we have opted for this, but you can give a try with that as well. May I know if you have a paid Azure account?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. See, I can suggest you one thing. It is here we do call it as instance or virtual machine. There we call it as a resource. If
Correct.
you launch, the options would be different or the view would
Mm.
be different. See, in this AWS, we do have something like all in one go because we have been
Mm.
continuously using this since years. That is why we are well aware. Okay, volumes means I'll get here. Security groups means I'll get
Mm-hmm.
here. But in Azure, that is something different. Resource groups. We call it as
Correct.
resource group. But in order to edit inbound or outbound rule, that is something different.
Mm.
So
And
first learn in this. Then you can opt for Azure. Like you can just create a VM and just follow the complete steps.
Mm. Okay. So you want to
Because the
provide
thing
on
is, I
Azure,
already have a batch from, already I'm taking a batch from 7 to 8, okay? I just finished
Okay.
the batch. I'm taking that. So 7 to
Okay.
8 in that batch, I'm exactly taking this only, in this machine only. You can see already the container being
Uh,
stopped and I have some commands being executed here. So I just finished up the class.
okay.
So this 8 to 9 today's was like third demo, that is final day demo session. So once
Okay.
the students get registered, they both will be merged from, both the batches will be merged and clubbed together, and the classes will be from 7:30 to 9 p.m. Only weekdays.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, you can decide. This is
Okay, madam.
basically the reason why do we use this cloud service provider. Hope I have made you clear. Okay. If you have any
Yes,
doubts,
madam.
you can just
No.
reach out to me. Yeah, I'll just show
Thank
you
you.
this. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Thanks.
please.
Yeah. So Docker run ITD, I have to give a name. Otherwise, the default names would come. Okay, I have a name. Let me give it as Nginx 1 or something. Nginx 1. Sure, 1 second. Nginx 1. -P. Why do we need this port? I shall tell you. 9090:80. Usually, this Nginx server or Apache HTTPD would run in which port? 80. So let me just explain this command. I'm giving a name to this, and -p port means I'm exposing it to the host port. So that internally it will be having 80 application running, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
exposing it to 9090 so that I can be able to access outside my instance as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Now let me go here. No, yeah, take the IP. Okay. It should throw me an error because I didn't give any port. If I
Port
just
number
simply give the IP, it won't work. So what is the port number that I have given here? Is something
1990.
9090. Even now it will throw an error. I shall show you that. Let's wait for some time. So it's 8080. Yeah, see again
90.
error. Why? Why it is error? Why it's showing error? Because I don't have the port open in my security group.
Mm.
Demo 3, security. Okay, security groups. Because security groups is something where we will define the inbound or outbound rule so that
Mm.
we'll be allowing a particular ports to be connected. Because we all know that in our organization, some ports are blocked, right? Will I be able to
Correct.
see in my organization, I'm not able to access YouTube actually. Why? Because they have blocked that particular port. This is where the picture of security group comes.
9090, na ma'am? You
Good.
gave 8080.
1 minute. I have given 8080. Effect of last class. I was using the port 90. Sorry, 9. It's 9090.
9090.
I don't know why it's taking.
It is not going away, is it?
Yeah, it's not going away. Let me delete it. Yeah, now let me add one. Custom 80, 80, 90, 90, right? 80, 80.
No, 9090 you cannot put because it is outside that range.
Oh, no, yeah, it's 80, 80. Let me delete this. 90, 90.
Now it's
80, 80 for sure. I have to give 90, 90. Correct.
yeah, correct.
And anywhere. Then save routes. 1 minute. Now let me execute. See, I'm able to see this page.
Correct.
How? Because I have enabled the port so that I'm able to access. Explain you what happens here. Exactly, the architecture. Usually, when I pass a command, this is a CLI base, that is a command from user.
Hmm.
So when I pass a command, that usually calls, it will go via REST API, that is a payload. Then it will go to container D
Yes.
into the process. So then, sorry, it will go for daemon. Daemon means background. So that daemon calls container D. And how it calls container D? It's via remote procedure calls, that is gRPC calls.
Hmm.
And from there, that container D will create a OCI bundle from the Docker image. Let me show you from where it is exactly getting the hit. It is from Docker Hub. This is a registry wherein it contains all the images that we can download from here. This is where, the images are getting downloaded. Now let me do one thing. Docker pull Python. I want to download Python. See, it is showing a latest. Earlier, see, can you see this? Unable to find image locally. That's why I am pulling from library Nginx. Now pulling from library Python. Now let's go
Python.
to Docker Hub. We'll search for Python. Python.
So it is pulling from
This
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 Docker
Docker.
website, huh? Okay.
And if you ask me why this Docker Hub, why it is so, right now this container creation, it is just taking seconds, fraction of seconds or less than a minute to
Correct.
have the application being executed. Correct? How take me to run this application? A matter of minute. How it is possible? See, let me tell you. When you use your Oracle VirtualBox, definitely we'll download an OSI. Correct? Sorry, ISO image, CentOS or whatever. That will be in terms of GBs, but these are something in terms of YUMBs. This is not a original ISO image. It contains all the binary dependencies, and it is not a original image. That's why the spaces are less.
Okay. So it is not full Python,
Uh-huh.
just
No, it
some
is a
part
full
of it.
Python. No. It's not about sub part of Python. It is a full Python. But the
Okay.
thing is, it doesn't have the exact kernel. See, when there is a kernel, then only it occupies GBs of space. The reason it gets the image, see, now am I calling this as an application or image? Image,
Image.
right? I said
Oh,
I have passed the command called docker pull. And if I
correct.
just give the command docker images, docker images. See, when I pass the command images, I have Nginx because I have already downloaded at the first, and now I have Python, which I have downloaded at last. That means this images doesn't have a like kernel in it, and it will have all the binary dependencies. But
But
it is
still,
a
it was 1 GB, na?
no, it is not 1 GB.
Can you go to the previous screen? You see 1.2 GB.
Okay, let me download a complete Python. I mean, that's what I was saying. If at all, if I just install a HTTPD or something, how would that take? If I just go here and Python, I mean, it again depends on, see, downloads. Let me go for downloads. Windows. If I just download, I'll just click on.
27 MB.
This is something exe. 1 minute, 1 minute.
Zip file we can take, no?
Yeah,
Zip.
not a zip file. What if we
Uh,
just, yeah, obviously we'll get zip file. Once I unzip, how much the space would it take?
it would take less than 1 GB, no? 1 GB is too much, I think.
See, wait, I shall tell you. 1 minute. What else I can do? Docker pull. Let me take for HTTP. Yeah, this is something Apache one.
Hmm. The web server, no? HTTP.
Yeah. How much is it is taking?
140.
148 MB. But if at all, again, this Python, let me go here in Hub. Where was I? Docker Hub. Let me click on this because this is the latest one it is showing. Let me click on why does it have that much of space? I can see tags as well. See, there are a number of tags. Right now, I didn't give anything. That's why the latest one will be downloaded. See, can you see here something? It is 2.7 GB, 3 GB, 2 GB. Almost when we say Python, why that Python will have that much amount of space? Tell me, because in Python we do have, like, it's totally, see, yes, this is something 300 MB, 360 MB, right? I can go with this
Yeah.
as well. I can have this tag.
Okay.
I can have the tag. I can show you. But one thing I have to see, it is having vulnerability level is 3. Red, that means it can be easily attacked. It can be attacked or easily exposed. That is why by seeing that, see, right now we are into a practice mode. But when we create a container, that is what it is, right?
Got
Now,
it,
let
madam.
me pull Python again, colon. Okay, it's already existing, but still it has downloaded. Now let's see if yes.
It is still same only.
Because this particular, yeah, it is a compressed one.
Okay, it's okay. I understood concept, madam. No problem.
I mean, the reason why I was saying, because we usually don't go with this vulnerability kind of. And let me tell you something. There are a number of users globally, example, including me or you, where I'll just log in and I'll upload one image. Okay, Python, wherein it will be having complete dependencies. If you just download the image from my end with a tag, then you will get all the dependencies necessary. But have you ever experienced that we all ended up with installing a software from so and so, like GitHub repo? Yeah, we usually clone that. But didn't we ever end up with facing an issue, like no particular dependency available, where I need to install one more Java version? Correct. That
Correct.
means in some GitHub repository, some XYZ users, they might have not uploaded the complete dependencies. So that is the reason here it takes, and obviously we all know that Python is something that's quite a big thing. Let me do one thing. Okay, image might take that much, but if at all, if I just go with create a container, then it would take a lesser space. Nginx. Let me go with HTTPD and name with HTTPD1. HTTPD1. Port number, it has to allow something like 9091. Docker. Fetch. It means for a particular container, okay, limit we have given is out of only 1 GB maximum limitations. It has to just utilize, and how much percentage of memory it has utilized.
Okay.
Yeah, that is what we'll be knowing in depth, like a particular container. And in real time classes, we'll be knowing how to increase the CPU percentage and how are we limiting in such a way that the threshold should not go more than 50%. How are we doing it? And along with that, we'll be having Control C. Yeah, we'll also be having like how do we map the port? I mean port mapping concept. So that, and then how the containers would communicate each other. That is via Docker network concept. In day one, I mean, for now, I can show you something like Docker ps-a, which would list all the container, even if it is in a stopped state or it's not in an active state. So right now, both are running. So Docker ps-a means listing all the things. PS means only the running process. And how do I remove? How do I remove? Will I be able to remove a running container? Let me try. Docker
No.
rm followed with the name. Will I be? It will throw me an error stating
Yeah.
you cannot remove container. So how do we do that? How do we stop? Docker stop nginx. Container name or either with container ID as well.
Okay.
Sorry. It's Docker. Docker stop nginx. It's one. Now it has been stopped. How do I know? If we give no, ignore Docker ps Docker ps-a, then here I can see it is exit. Now let me just remove this. Docker rm nginx 1. Yes. Now, even if I see here, it won't be visible.
Yeah, correct.
And there is one more command. You said we cannot delete a running container, and that's not a followed approach. Correct? But we can remove by following Docker rm-f, that is forcefully. This works in one way. Also, we have one more command called kill. That is what it was at today's session actually.
Okay.
But it is not recommended approach. Still, if you want to kill something forcefully, because even in when we delete a file directory, we do use that, right? Forcefully recursive.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the thing. And apart from that, we'll also be knowing about how do we list only the IDs. ps-aq would list only the container IDs, not the complete details. And what if I have thousands of containers? And if I just can't keep on typing everything like Docker rm, container name, I can't do that. How will I delete all those hundreds of container at one go? There is a command called Docker rm followed with a dollar. Why dollar? Because that will store the value or the output generated here. ps-aq or a, whatever. ps-aq means that will display only the IDs. So now when I pass this docker ps-aq, the output from this will be stored in this ampersand. So this ampersand, sorry, this dollar, it will keep on looping Docker rm. So every time it will remove all the containers irrespective of if they are in a stopped state or in a running state.
Okay.
So we'll be knowing in depth more about like how do we what is the difference between Docker create and Docker run? What is the difference between pause and stop? Pause and unpause, we know that. We stop and we just start again. But what is the difference between stop and pause? What happens exactly for the memory space? Because in real time, interview questions, that is what they're going to ask us, right? Okay, what is the difference between the stop and pause? What happens? We'll say stop and pause, both are same thing. It will stop the container, but that's the wrong. When we do stop, when we pass the command called stop, immediately it will come into exit state. That means no memory and no CPU will be utilized. But when I say pause, that means you are pausing temporarily. But in
like
the background, yes, we will be having the memory utilizations been running. Hibernate mode. So that is what we learn in this. Also, how do we make 2 to 3 containers communicate to each other, or there will be a scenario in real time. Right now, I have to have in an organization, they have to have a login details of our employees, logout details of our employees, and also your password details. One more. So definitely I have to have 3 containers. One for login, one for logout, and one for another one like secret data, that is your password, your login passwords. But we have to make sure in such a way that only login and logout should communicate each other, but not the secret data. That is your password details. How do we achieve that? Via network. There the concept of Docker network would come. And we do have one more thing. So once I reboot the system or just kill this session, entire data will be lost. The container. What if I just see right now? I just deleted a container, right? All the details, whatever it has been stored over there, it's lost.
Okay,
Means
all the data
it's not
inside that.
persistent. It is not
Okay,
persistent. How do you achieve persistent then?
okay,
For example, you will delete the container, but I need the data. How do you achieve? It is via Docker volume concept. So these are all something once we learn about this containers lifecycle, container basic commands and everything, we'll jump onto Kubernetes. In Kubernetes, it is all about managing, assigning, advanced scheduling, along with that, a sidecar containers or something wherein it's used for logging containers or to collect all the logs, so on. Hope I have made you clear, right?
yes, madam.
Okay. So you have any questions to be asked?
No, madam. No, madam.
Okay. If you have any doubts, they have provided the details over the chat window. You can reach out to the institute. Like if you have any concerns over there, so they'll guide you. And one more thing I have to tell you, today is a day 3 session and it's done for the day. And if you if you want to continue for the classes, you have to register. Then the link will be changed so that I'll be taking up the classes from 7:30 to 9 by merging both the batches.
Okay, madam.
Because we have started the batch, new batch. I just started the new batch 2 days ago. So I'll just cover up this batch and I'll just merge both the batches and it will be from 7:30 to 9 p.m.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Peter, for joining. So if you have any queries, you can reach out to them.
Yes, yes. Excellent teacher, madam. You are really excellent. I highly appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your feedback.